Welcome everybody to the Minuteman. I don't know what this is. This is just whatever kind of what we're doing. We're at unnamed location Kilo. Spot in the middle of the wilderness.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. Center of everywhere.
It's wonderful to be out in the middle of nowhere.
It is.
With a wonderful handmade table and chair set.
Handmade.
Yes.
Handmade,
Yeah. Excellent work.
All done with a chainsaw mostly. I am that good with a chainsaw. I would say that.
So, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about kind of your aspect. You know, kind of how this all got started for you, and kind of, you know, obviously don't go into too much detail, but I'm just genuinely curious about your story. You've been on a couple of videos at this point. You know, you're kind of a range master with me, and you know, our combat medic basically. Kind of tell us your story.
Well, I got into medicine. Oh man, it's probably about 8 years now.
Okay.
8 years ago. Like everybody, I feel like that is raised in Montana. You gotta go and see the world, so I did that. And came back home. And one of the first things, it was landlord at the time. My buddy, good friend, Keith McBride, Mr. McBride. He was the one that, you know, the story here is I had an old book, Principles of Internal Medicine.
Okay.
And it was like an old Harvard, like, first edition book. I loved that book.
Right.
And Keith came and he saw that book and he's like, I do this gig with the ambulance. Like, I think you should try it out. So I did, took the class, took the test, passed the test, and I've been running with it ever since. But in doing that, like, I got really kind of serious into medicine. And then Joe Chopiak kind of took me under his wing. And
Joe Chopiak is a local doctor.
He's the local medical director too.
Yeah.
And yeah, he kind of took me under his wing, and that was great. And so I worked at the CHC for a little bit. At first I started there taking temperatures when the world went to shit during COVID.
I remember that because I was working with the PD there. Yeah.
When you ordered for cough, short espresso, throat fever, chills.
Right.
Whole deal. Pepto-Bismol commercial, right? But then they wanted me to be a medical assistant when everything kind of calmed down, so we did the schooling to become a medical assistant. And then Ricky Thompson, you know, she kind of took me on too. Known her for quite a while too. She kind of wanted me, so I didn't tell her no.
Right.
But I'm only kind of part-time there, so I do that Mondays and Fridays,
Okay.
and then I kind of fill in as needed as a medical assistant. And then Thursday night, Friday mornings, I do the ambulance. And then as needed, you know, of course, if there's transports, stuff like that. And now I'm in school doing the AEMT. So
Okay.
you have your levels of licensure, you know, your basic level. In Montana, your basic can actually do quite a bit with different endorsements. So like I have all of my endorsements, so I could do all the things that anyone can do basically other than push certain meds. And it's all up to your medical director of what you can really do.
Right.
So we're kind of limited in that aspect for our area, but we can still do quite a bit. Like I said, IVs and different fluids, and there's certain drugs that Montana allows basics to give that we're not allowed to give because I'm a medical director.
Okay.
But that's a whole other story for another time.
Yes.
But anyway, so coming back home, of course, we wanted a spot that was something that we could make our own, something that we could grow from the ground up, and something that had everything that we needed. You know?
So what were the things that you needed?
So running water was one of the absolutes that had to have.
Right.
And then bordering national forest. So we got super lucky with this spot here because we were bordered by national forest almost all around. There's only one spot that's not bordered by national forest. Everything else is. So that fulfilled the two main things that we needed.
Did you have any sort of size requirements that you were looking for?
Not really. No,
So you would have been okay with like
4 or 5 acres.
Okay.
Yeah, we would have been fine with that. For sure. We just lucked out at this spot.
No, that's totally fair. Tell me about your journey into firearms, because you're kind of not what anybody would expect, right? Like, you're this big time medical dude. You know what I mean? Like you're huge in the medical world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know you. I know we've shot together.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah, I've always. So my mom shares this story about me. So she was a school bus driver in school. I used to always ride a bus. Yeah. Just because, you know. Anyway, so came along one of these do no goods. He's in prison for life now, but he tried robbing my mom's bus. And he had a gun, so she had the doors locked. She was at her first stop, waiting for the time to come around to move down to go get the kids. Well, this kid knew kind of what she did. Comes up and he has his gun. It's a Walther PBK, and he's tapping it on the glass.
Yeah.
Me, at that time, dude, I was like 10. I knew what that gun was.
Right.
And I knew everything there was to know about that gun. Which is hilarious because that's actually how they found this kid. Is a stolen gun.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so she like sees this. I'm in the stairwell peeling a hard-boiled egg, and as he comes and taps on the window, she throws me up over that first seat there. Throws me up into the seat, grabs the radio, and radios in. What's going on? And he takes off running off. And cops come and they give a report. And I was able to give a detailed sketch of that gun, tell them exactly what it was. I knew what it was.
Nice.
Like, it was crazy. And that's how I found it. I've been into guns forever. It's just I've always had a heart out for guns.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Shooting guns, like, so my dad, piece of shit guy, but he taught me how to hunt. He taught me how to live off the land. He taught me how to fish. I give him all of that. He did.
Right.
He gave me all that. You know, always kind of.
So what have you attended any trainings as far as firearms, or you're all self-taught? Kind of what's your deal with that?
Yeah, I've had some training.
Okay.
I had a concealed carry permit in Tennessee, and Tennessee you have to go through certain training for that.
Okay.
It's all super basic stuff though.
Okay.
A lot of what I have training wise is from good people that I know,
Right.
friends and family, people that have been in the military, people
Right.
that militia type mindset.
Right.
Getting together with them and just flashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but as far as guns go, like I've collected, I guess you could say, everything from FALs to AKs to fucking all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
And it's just like seeing something and getting into it and really digging into it has just always been awesome to me.
Right.
Internals, figuring it out.
Right.
Like
right.
fucking
Mechanical
Legos,
aspect
right?
of it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then do you like more complex designs or simpler designs? If you like all the mechanics.
That's a tough question. Is it like, are we talking HKs, like G36?
I'm talking like
Some rolling delayed action.
I'm talking like AN94.
Man, I little overkill, like the PS90, you know? Things like,
Yeah.
we're going into Caltech territory, you know, like we're all gonna do a bunch of cocaine to make a gun. That's what I feel like Caltech does.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, sometimes they come up with some good
They
ideas.
do. I'm not gonna lie, man. You got some
Innovative,
stuff that I'm
right?
like, okay, I like that.
Very
Yeah.
innovative.
Yeah. Do you still want to get one of those new Caltech 5.7s
Yes.
with the stripper clips?
Yes.
Oh my
I'm thinking
God.
about it.
Oh, the handgun?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
my
I'm thinking
God,
about it,
it's
man.
gonna be such a flop.
That's what I think.
It's
too.
so cheap though. Like that's.
Oh,
No,
why?
okay. Where it makes
Why is
sense.
this a thing?
Where it makes sense is I'm pretty sure it's California legal,
Yeah.
Yes.
and so because it
Because
doesn't
there's
have
not
a
a
detachable
detachable
magazine,
magazine.
and so I think that it does fit a very. It's probably a very good gun for people that want to concealed carry in California
Yes.
and other really restricted states.
Well, good luck in this.
I was just gonna say, good luck getting
Wow.
a CCW in California.
It is possible, but I know it is different.
Okay, well here's one. AR or AK guy?
AR.
AR?
100%. I like to
Alright.
hit when I'm shooting.
Fair enough.
AKs are cool.
Wolverines?
I mean, I get it, and you know, if shit was to go down, AKs. People always say, you know, say the Communist Party coming in fucking, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
But they're always like, that's the gun that's going to be around. I'm like, bullshit. AR is going to be the gun that's
Yeah,
going to be around.
there are more ARs in circulation in the United States, and
Dude,
And the whole thing about the reliability, you know, an AR-15 nowadays
it's
is
reliable.
just as reliable.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
just
An
as
air
reliable.
time. I think so.
Yeah.
DI guns are just like the only thing that's going to go wrong on a DI gun is you're going to pop the fuse.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
yep,
That's
and that's
usually
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's a pretty easy fucking fix.
right.
If you carry gas tubes with you, most people do.
Yeah. Well, but in order to do that, I mean, you have to like
You have to
burn
really
it down.
burn it down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
straight up.
Which is
It's that design is it's meant to save
Yes.
the gun. You know what I mean?
right.
Like absolutely AR 100%. AKs, they're at the front sight. Posts will move around on you. It'll throw it around and do what it's meant to do, but
So
they're just not accurate. They're not
words of advice as far as words of advice for our viewers, kind of as far as like what they should be doing as far medical training and wise like that.
I was going to ask that. Too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tourniquets, stop the bleeds, get some hemostatic gauze.
Okay.
Those are going to be the main things. You know, tourniquet which you can, high and tight. You know,
Any particular style of tourniquet you recommend, or just anything that you can get your hands on that's quality?
just quality. Do not skip out on your tourniquet.
Yeah. That's yep.
Don't. I've seen tourniquets break. You know
Right.
what I mean? You want that shit tight,
Yeah.
and tight enough to where it hurts.
Right.
Like people don't understand how much. Like you have two main arteries going down through your leg. I mean, of course, your femoral, but
Right.
people think you also have one in the back too, your ulnar artery. Too.
Okay. Okay.
So-
I didn't even. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
we need to train with you more.
Yeah. And that's
It
that's
takes
what,
so a lot of time. Your body's really good at going into shock. You know, it's really good at stopping the bleed itself too.
right.
I've seen a lot of like amputation injuries where it's not bleeding. It's like because the arteries will pull up and suck into themselves.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. I got you.
That's
Especially
fascinating.
lower like tib fib type
Yeah.
amputees.
Okay.
But at the same time, sometimes that will cause rhabdo or
What is
compartment syndrome.
what is rhabdo?
So, rhabdomyolysis is basically it's hard for me to really say. Your kidneys have a hard time getting rid of water.
Yeah, so basically that's a big thing in the military is rhabdo.
Yeah.
Is, you know, if you're training super hard,
Yeah.
you'll just drop dead.
Yep. It
Yeah,
happens to long distance runners.
Yeah,
To,
yeah.
to people that do a lot of working out, and it also happens in cases of soft tissue injury too.
Right.
People just have a hard time with getting over stuff off road detail. But compartment syndrome is another one too. You know, where the blood kind of pools compartments and has more control.
Right.
Those are all things that you're not really too worried about until like hours, days.
Right.
Of having maybe like a tournament.
Right.
So that's another thing too. So you want to stop the bleed, but once the bleed has stopped, like maybe you might, like if you're out in the wilderness and you're out in something, you might want to consider something like taking the tourniquet off and maybe using some hemostatic gauze.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because you can cause more damage.
Right.
If you get on for too long.
How about training? What would you recommend for training?
For like medical
Yeah,
training?
like you know, let's say me or Brad, we don't want to be EMTs, but at the same time we want to have a basic knowledge of first aid.
And you can really find anything on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
anything
fair
you want.
enough,
There's
yeah.
so many.
Sure. But is there also bad advice on YouTube?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
So how does somebody that doesn't know what they don't know, how do they figure out what is garbage and what is legitimate good advice?
Find one or two kind of channels that you know are legit and trusted. Master Your Medics is one of them.
Okay.
On YouTube, Master Your Medics is great. He's out in Canada. He's a paramedic and he does like free stuff, and he does stuff that you have to pay for.
Okay.
And it's tailored to whatever it is that you want to. it's kind of hard to filter out what's real and what's not, and even in medicine is ever changing. So you're gonna always have sometimes conflicting views on certain things too, and you really just kind of have to go by the studies that have been done. And like the University of Washington has tons of different studies.
Johns Hopkins. Yeah.
That was something interesting. Recently I messed up the tip of my finger. Well, recently it's all healed now. A couple months ago, and nice
chainsaw.
And I went into the ER and the doctors were like, "Oh wow, you did a good job," and they basically sent me home. But they asked me what I did, and I told them that I cleaned it with soap and water and hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
And they told me, so I was always, when I was growing up, it was you clean it with hydrogen peroxide. They told me that the soap and water was good, but that they no longer recommend hydrogen peroxide because it kills the flesh.
It kills the good bacteria too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what do they recommend?
Just soap and water is what they told me.
Soap and water,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So if you can, distilled water, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes your tap water is going to have some bacteria in it. Distilled water, if you can, for sure. Or saline. Not everybody carries saline.
Well, if you wear contacts, isn't that what contact solution is?
Absolutely, yeah. That's actually, I stopped buying contact lens solution a long time ago because I just use
Right. But yeah, so kind of we'd like to bring you in, on more things that we're doing around here. You know what I mean? And
well, you guys are more than welcome to the compound.
Yeah.
And we can always do some stuff out there at the shooting range.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that Brad and I had talked about is we'd like to do stuff for like combat medicine. You know what I mean? We're like we're shooting, we're moving, we're communicating. Brad's down. Like what do we do? Or you know what I mean? Stuff like that, kind of to get our brains into that whole, okay, think about what's next, sort of.
Yeah, a lot of it is moving, right? That's a lot of it in that kind of application is going to be moving, drawing cover, taking cover, and moving, getting out of there. If you're injured, you got to get your buddy out. That's going to be, take focus. I think packing wounds, packing the trunk, and tourniquets.
And self medicine.
Yeah.
If you can manage it, you know what I mean? If you're pinned down and you can start fixing yourself, you need to start fixing yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. You should know how to use a tourniquet, right?
Yeah.
And you should know, I carry hemostatic gauze with me too. And that's really expensive stuff. A lot of people don't carry it because it's fucking expensive. But if you need it, like I've used it for everything from cuts on my dog.
Okay.
They'll get too close to a saw or something, like a saw blade, and they'll cut themselves wide the fuck open, and I'll just tight with hemostatic gauze, and it takes care of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's my dog,
Right. Right.
Well, and for medical equipment, I think it's fair to say that it's worth spending the extra money because there's really no amount of money that compares to saving your life, or even saving your limb.
Accidents happen all the time in the gun range too.
Yes.
Well, but not even just at the gun range. And like what you're saying, you need to know how to.
You should have an IFAC.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I have one right here.
Yeah.
Nice.
But even if you're just like,
do you have a chest seal?
Actually, I don't.
That would be one thing I would recommend.
I have a chest seal at the house,
so
but I don't in an IFAC.
That's something that can save somebody too.
Yep.
Sucking chest wound. You can improvise anything that you have that you can cut into a square that's kind of plasticky material. You can use. You tape it on 3 of the 4 sides and make sure that it has a good seal.
Yeah.
And that'll stop a stucking chest wound.
Oh. So
improvising is a lot of.
Let me ask.
Just knowing what you have to.
What are the things that you need to spend money on, and what are the things you can kind of like not really spend that amount of money for?
I would say tourniquet.
Yes.
Don't skimp out on a tourniquet, and not just 1 but 2.
Okay.
And have them ready. Make sure that they're out of the packaging material.
Yes.
Right. If your arm's fucking blown off and you're trying to fuck with some packaging material, you're wasting precious time.
Right.
Like, out of the packing material is one thing that I always say. Hemostatic gauze is another one, right? So hemostatic gauze is priceless. You can cut it, you can rip it, you can stuff it, you can do whatever you need to, but in certain areas where you can't tourniquet, like your neck,
Right.
I mean, you have to have someone that's going to stop that bleed. Stopping the bleed is most important.
So like, regular gauze, like bandages and stuff like that. You can kind of
It's better than nothing.
right.
Yeah,
But no, what I'm saying is, for the stuff that you can kind of skimp. You know what I mean? Like you can get like cheaper band-aids, cheaper gauze. But as far as the two things you're saying to spend the money on is tourniquets and hemostatic gauze.
I would for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, a chest seal can be improvised if you have some good tape. Some good tape, most of the time there's a lot of bleeding, sweating. It's really hard to get that into a stick. So a really good chest seal can be the difference between death for sure.
Right.
Two of those, too, because we have
Entry, yeah.
So I have surgical tape and some Ziploc bags. And
Yeah.
could you improvise that?
100% improvise that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's one big takeaway that you would tell our viewers as far as your life? What's one thing that you want to get off your chest?
So you are your own first responder, no matter what. In any situation you're in, relying on other people to save your life is it just doesn't make sense to me. Like for me and my family, like I know that I have to be that first responder, no matter what. And especially living in where we live, anything can fucking happen. Like I've seen people trip and fall and have a tib-fib fracture, a total open fracture, just from fucking walking. You know what I mean? So knowing how to make a splint out of sticks and some gauze, anything that knowing how to improvise and knowing how to use what you improvise.
How would you suggest people train with their medical stuff? Because I mean, ideally, you would want to know what to do and practice it before you actually have an accident.
Yeah, it's smart. It's just like anything. Like say you're practicing your dry fire techniques. It's anything just like that. Learning your material, knowing how to use it. Just most of the time, tourniquets are pretty simple, easy to use, one-handed. Just figuring it out, tightening it up, learning how to use the tourniquet, your way around it. It's pretty freaking simple. It should be like anything else. It should be second nature. It should be where you don't even have to think about it. It just happens. It should be muscle memory.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because me being in law enforcement, it's the same thing. It's you're your own first responder, man.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to figure this out before I get there. And so
we do what we can.
Right.
And,
yes.
And obviously we get called for a lot of different things, but when it comes right down to it, if you have somebody there that knows what's going on and they know they have to get to the hospital, but they've done what they can and they stop to leave themselves. I've come up on one that comes to mind is a dialysis patient had a port come loose in the shower. And if you know anything about those ports, it's basically a tie between a vein and an artery, and it'll bleed out 2.5 minutes and you're fucking dead.
Really?
Right? Yeah. So she actually had one that was down low that had come loose and it was just everywhere. But she knew what to do. She had a tourniquet, and the bleeding was not stopped. I actually had to put another tourniquet on up high. So she had 2 tourniquets on because that bleeding was still going.
But it slowed it down?
It slowed it down enough and it saved her life. Good. And just because, and she was older, elderly lady,
right.
But she knew that was a thing that was, a potential to happen.
Right.
And she knew the steps to take to keep herself alive. And it did. I guarantee you if she had not put that tourniquet on, when we got there, she would have been dead. For sure, she would have bled out in 2 minutes.
And I guess that's the big takeaway with this whole Minuteman theory is that you're your own first responder. You know what I mean? Like for everything, yeah. Whether it be medical, whether it be security, whatever the case may be, and and the other thing is your community. You know what I mean? Make it looking out for your community. We're all involved in our community in some way. And
I love this little town, and there's really become a lot of great relationships, and everybody has their things that they bring to the table, and it's a community. We all have to look out for each other.
Yeah.
It's something that is really kind of rare.
Yeah, lacking these days.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, man.
Definitely.
You know,
So it's something that we should hold on to. We should definitely do what we can, everything that we can to keep it and make it better. And to
yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. It's like I said, I'm glad that we ended up linking up, and I feel like we'll be definitely an asset to kind of what we're doing here. And I'd like to just start training more. And
a lot of the same mental
yes,
things for sure.
yeah, and it's funny because we'll have conversations, you know, and it's we've all done the same research. Like we don't even realize it at the time, but we've all done the exact. And we're like, oh yeah, and we can, you know, like we just had a conversation about some current world events, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, we're all just kind of, you know.
Shit's about to pop off hot.
Yeah,
multiple spots. Like,
what was
so
wild?
Surprised it hasn't already.
What was wild is just how we just brought up a conversation, and the three of us were like, "Oh yeah," you know, like we've all kind of been paying attention to what's going on, you know, and that's.
Well, so Sean Ryan. You guys watch Sean Ryan?
Yeah, I watched Sean.
Man, I love that guy. Come on now. Yeah, he's got some real outlandish stuff.
Everything that I've watched and listened to of him, I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
He's not on my regular circuit.
Right.
So
I'll be honest, I'm getting into Joe Rogan like a lot.
Yeah. Again, Joe Rogan's another one of those where I've enjoyed most of the stuff that I've watched from him, but like, I don't know. I every morning I wake up and I read tech news because that's what my world is.
I have Medscape and Up to Date, right? So I read medical news.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm just a nerd like that. Like I'm just nerd out on what's going on with the world. Like everybody's freaking out about measles. You know, like,
really,
right?
yeah.
And you know a lot of that. Well, I can go down about it. I mean, measles. Was unheard of. How we practically eradicated measles, and then you get a lot of these undocumented people coming in that aren't vaccinated, that are spreading these things that we have vaccinated for.
Right. Well, to hear the other side, it's the people who didn't have the vaccines.
So
it's going.
I understand that aspect of it, but what gets me is the breakthrough cases, the people that have been vaccinated.
Right. So
now maybe virology and all this kind of stuff is its own thing to go onto, but having these breakthrough cases is something to be studied in and of itself.
So let me ask you, do you think measles is going to be the next COVID?
No. COVID was completely blown out of proportion. COVID's been around forever and ever. It's just a new strain, a new variant of the virus that's been there forever.
Right.
Do I think it was grown in the lab? 100%.
Hey, man. Hey.
Hasn't that been actually
proven? Yeah. But it's wild because, you know, I look at the news and it's like, oh, there's this and there's that and there's this, like, okay, well, what's going to be the one that impacts us the most, or what, you know, you know.
So I don't watch the news. My parents are all in the news. They got to wake up and watch the Today Show every day.
Right.
All about the news, and it's just like, man, that propaganda is just so in your face, and how.
Well, I don't necessarily. I mean, like, it's seeing news articles and being like, you know, like we just talked about how everything's going to start, you know, World War III. It's like, but what's going to be the thing that impacts us the most? Is this going to be another COVID? Is it going to be World War III? Is it going to be a depression? Like, it's like, what is it? You know,
prices are what's going to impact us.
Yeah, I'll bet you're right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know who I really like? He's somebody that I listen to often, and he's just like, here's the facts. Here's my little. The
daily. I just subscribed to him.
S2 Underground.
Yeah, S2 Underground.
Yeah, S2 Underground. He comes out with those, and he's just like, here's what's going on.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit about what I think, but mostly it's just here's what we know so far. We can't draw any conclusions from this yet because blah blah blah. And I like that.
So there's another guy, Monkeyworks is his channel on YouTube.
Okay.
And he's he's like a retired Air Force general.
Okay.
And he follows all the flights, everything. All the flights all across the world.
Really?
Yeah, and he tracks like everything from drones to military aircraft.
Interesting.
And he it's like every Wednesday, I think he comes out with a new video.
Okay.
And it might be like Wednesday and Friday. Twice a week he comes out with new stuff. And he shows all of the movement of all the aircraft. Like, and you'll see traces, and he knows what's going on. And like he's another really cool one to follow. His can be a little bit kind of boring on the boring side because it's really super nerdy on what's going on in the air. but like super freaking cool. Like he strips out training aircraft and like all these different military aircraft, and like he follows everything. That's pretty cool. Because like following, like when the B-2 Spirit landed in Diego Garcia, he was one of the first people to like show the actual traces from like sky maps of what was happening. Super crazy.
I thought that was the camera first.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, so Monkey Works is another one where I kind of follow to get a lot of information.
Right. No, man, it's been awesome having you on the channel, and we need to keep doing it, because again, that's what this is all about. Like, you have a lot of experience and a lot of training and stuff that I have zero experience in training in. And, you know, like we're all it's just a community, man. I mean, that's what it's about. Brad's the tech guy, and you know, it's just we all kind of have our strengths and our weaknesses, and that's what a team does, man. They draw on each other's strengths and help each other with the weaknesses.
Yeah.
So.
No, I love it. I love you guys. I'm glad to be a person.
Yeah. So let's. I don't know. What do we do?
I don't know. I mean, this could be a
closed session at Camp Kilo.
Yeah. All right. I like
session
it.
at
Camp Kilo. I love it. Yeah.
It's a bonus Minuteman Theory podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
Sure. Yeah. I like that closed session at Camp Kilo.
Camp Kilo.
In an undisclosed location.
Undisclosed. It's somewhere in Montana.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
If you liked the conversation we had today, then subscribe for more, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. No, we're now that
I'm not very like talkative.
No, man, you're just fine. We're gonna start doing.
Just me.
We're gonna start doing more stuff. You know, my schedule's been weird, but we're just gonna start doing some more stuff. And we want to bring you on. Like, let's go shooting. Let's go training. Let's go. Let's go do stuff. You know?
Yeah, I'm always down. You know, I'm super busy. I'm so busy all the time. But I always make things work.
Yep. So let's go shoot some whistle pigs.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's do it.